welcome everybody to Woolwich Library. My name's Marian Storey. I'm a sector librarian for Greenwich Libraries. I don't actually get often to come to Woolwich Library, so it's really nice to be with you this afternoon. It's a fantastic library. It's a real pleasure to welcome Emma Dalmayne this afternoon, who's autistic author, activist and CEO of Autistic Inclusive Meets. And we are going to find out all about your books and your writing this afternoon. We're really pleased to welcome you.
Thank you.
Just to let everybody know, there is tea and coffee available at the back. If you want to move around, feel free to move around, get your tea and coffee. We may be covering things that may be triggering to you. One of the books is called Trigger Warning for a reason. So if you feel like you need to leave, take a few minutes. Please feel free to do what you need to do for yourself. Okay? Emma, thank you very much. Hello, thank you very much for being here this afternoon. Before we get on to your books, let's talk about awards. So, you've won an award this year. You've won other awards, but you've won an award this year, haven't you? So can you tell us a bit about that?
I won Outstanding Achiever at the Neurodiversity Business Awards.
And that was for all the things you've done?
All the campaigning.
That you've done. And how was that? How did you feel in that?
I honestly didn't think I was going to win. My mouth's too big and I'm too controversial, so I did not think I was going to win, but...
So it was a nice surprise.
It was a really nice surprise, yeah. Outstanding Achiever of the Year.
And you won other awards before?
I've got the British Citizenship Award, but not face to face.
I was saying to Emma before we started, we could spend a lot of time talking about all the different things that you do, all the activities, but we're not here to talk about your books today. So tell us a bit about the first book that you wrote.
Right, so what happened was, I can explain very quickly the background of it. So I am autistic myself. I have 6 teens and adults that are autistic. This was written in 2015. And it was written because I opened a Facebook group as soon as my son was diagnosed. I opened a Facebook group and a lot of parents were coming in talking about fake cures for autism that they'd heard of. And I went and had a look and I was horrified, and I thought, well, maybe if there's a book out there that is bullet points that people can dip into very easily to think, you know, what can we do about meltdowns and aftershock and replay and all of these different things. So yeah, I wrote it to educate parents. A lot of them found out they were autistic from reading it as well. So yeah, that's why I wrote it. And the day that it was released, my Facebook, Instagram and emails were hacked. And that has happened on every release date of every book.
Oh, okay.
Second, she would be at ease until she remembered she had school that day. Then the butterflies in her stomach would start to flutter. She would wonder if the bully in her class would have a good morning at home and maybe not be quite so hard on her that day. The sun would peek in through her curtains. She smiled then. Maybe the bully would only spit at her today. Lullaby stretched and then pulled her prettiest dress made of pink, silky flower petals from her closet. She had fairy school that day, and they were going on a trip to the enchanted lake where she and her friends would go on little boats made of tree bark and laugh with the fish. They would joke with the squirrels and fly with the butterflies. Lullaby could hardly wait. Lily roughly pulled on her uniform. She likes her uniform as it makes everyone look the same, makes everyone seem equal. In her pocket she carries a small pink pearl button that she handles when she gets nervous. Biting her lips until it bleeds gives her some comfort as she thinks about the trip the class are going on that day. They are going to a lake, a coach ride away to go canoeing. Wet and cold water, thought Lily with dread. They would be expected to get into small groups for the lessons on safety, and Lily was praying Tina would come in today. Tina is Lily's best friend and her only friend. She is also bullied and likes to read. She is quiet, shy, and like Lily, autistic. Being autistic makes it hard for Lily to say what she feels sometimes and makes some things difficult. She has a gift of being able to talk to animals as they always know what she means. Lily climbs into trees, hiding and gently listening for the fairy folk she's sure left her in this world, as she can't possibly belong where she is. Her mother has told Lily that the wiring in her brain is wired differently, and that's why she finds loud noises painful. This is a typo, sorry.
Yeah.
why too many words from a person makes her want to run, and why she always felt like she's on the outside looking in. She knows she's special and knows that she has a gift that the whole world will know about one day. If only the bully would know that. Lullaby leaves her flower and swings down the stem, landing in a crouch. Flicking her wings out straight, she flies up and over the meadow towards her school, where her friends cheer to greet her. She's so lucky, she thinks, to be so popular and to be going on such a nice trip. Her best friend Storey comes running over, excited to be sitting next to Lullaby on the boat they would go on. They giggle as they plan their day. Their laughter tinkles across the meadow and makes the honeybees smile. Lily slams the door and makes her way to school, glad to see Tina up ahead holding her mother's hand. She hurries to catch up and they plan their day. If they can get on the coach first, they decide, they will be near the teacher. The bully will sit in the back so they can cause mischief. The coach draws in and they pile up to the doors, the bully pushing to the front to get the first pick of the back seats. Lily and Tina get on, ignoring the bully smirking at them, knowing why they have picked those seats. Lullaby has finished her lunch and is dozing. The hum of grasshoppers around her in the grass is soothing, and she contemplates jumping on one for a ride. She's so tired, all played out as the boat's ride are finished, and Storey has made her laugh so much during loop-the-loops with the butterflies that she simply must sleep. Her classmates tiptoe past and break into a run to catch up with two grasshoppers they want to ride. Lily tries to sleep on the coach ride home. Tina tries to smile and tells her it doesn't matter, they will be home soon, that no one saw Lily fall into the mud when the bully tripped her up, and it didn't matter her lunch was ruined, as hadn't she had enough for both of them? Their mums were clever, she said, to pack double lunches in case they somehow lost their lunch. Lily didn't answer. She shut her eyes tighter and knew that one day she would tell Tina that none of this was real, that it was all make-believe, that they weren't really sitting on the coach. She was asleep in a meadow and her name was Lullaby.
Thank you.
Differs issues with communication and understanding of social situations. Not wanted by many parents, but how far will they go, thinking they can purge, cure, heal their autistic individuals? In the US, severe autism is apparently prevalent, only there's no such thing. Anti-vaxxers tout videos and images of adults walking around in pads/diapers with a soother in their mouth wearing just a t-shirt. These are autistic people who have additional conditions, like global developmental delay, learning disabilities and sensory issues. They may not be able to tell when they need to use the toilet due to problems with their interoceptive sense. They may also find stimming orally soothes them, and instead of being given a chewy, they are given a dummy, which I hate this word, infantilizes them. I can write it, but say it as well. Yeah, they are often non-speaking and have alternative means of communication instead of using mouth words. Many of these individuals are continuously exploited and labelled vaccine damaged. There's talk of them being a holocaust and an epidemic. This is where the snake oil salesmen make their entrance. Andrew Wakefield, for instance, was discredited and struck off the medical register due to deliberate fraud, ethical violations and falsifying data in his 1998 study linking the MMR vaccine to autism. Autism mums love Wakefield and platform him like a god. He has two films, Vaxxed and Vaxxed 2. I attended both premieres leading two protests, one in Dublin, one in West London. His producer, Polly Tommy, had to be restrained by her own security when she saw me at the one in the Tabernacle. There is Mark Brennan and his sons who tout chlorine dioxide bleach as a cure for autism in oral solutions and enemas. Chlorine dioxide is made from sodium chloride and citric acid. It is used for purifying water when camping, in swimming pools and for bleaching wood pulp. 8 drops to a gallon is recommended to purify water in an emergency. 1 drop in 8 ounces of water is 520 times the amount a human body is meant to consume. Parents are using up to 60 drops in 8 ounces of water multiple times a day. They are being advised to do this by Kerry Rivera. Kerry was trained by Jim Humble, who started the Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing with Mark Brennan. They began selling Miracle Mineral Solution, chlorine dioxide, as a sacrament and cure-all for the diseases and conditions. It was Mark's idea to make it a church so they don't get taxed. Kerry has an autistic son that she's inflicted every abusive treatment known to man on: banned blood product, GC mouth, chlorine dioxide, H-bot, which is hyperbaric oxygen therapy, pig secretin inhalation, and guess what, he's still autistic. She's written several books giving dangerous, scientifically unproven advice. Parents are currently in her Telegram group being told to dose their kids with chlorine dioxide, that they have to kill the parasites in their child to save them from their autism. I honestly thought that it couldn't be true, but it was. Any side effects they see, such as rashes, vomiting, diarrhea, pink urine, green stools, seizures, nosebleeds, dizziness, fatigue, blisters and loss of bowel lining, are seen as herxing and a loss of autistic symptoms. I began reporting parents using chlorine dioxide on their autistic kids in 2015. I would join Facebook groups under different names. I befriend the parents and find out where they were, their kids' names and how much they were dosing their kids with, their phone numbers and the area they were living in. So many, 13 sets of parents here in the UK alone. As soon as I had those details, I called the police, get a crime number, then call the police and call the media and social services, then the newspapers. When you report parents, they get angry. They truly believe they are saving their kids. They are told that the government want their kids to be autistic, that they are valuable that way as autism services are so lucrative. I've been called a big pharma whore and a terrorist. I've had a tablet sent to my house in plain cardboard, no charger, no instructions. When I put it on, it asked for a passcode. I called the police and they seized it. They wouldn't tell me what was on it, just that it was extremely distressing. I've had a bullet sent to me. I've been reported to the benefits agency, social services and the police for doing what I do. I've had hate groups made about me. The first parent that was covered was in The Independent, a piece by David Connett. She lived in Slough and was using CD, chlorine dioxide, on her little boy. One little girl aged 6 in Edgware, the police charged her parents of sexual assault due to the false evidence. There was a Turkish teen who was epileptic, who was stuffing tissue up his nose and down his throat in an attempt to stop his mother giving him CD. He was removed from his mother, placed in care for a week and then returned to her. She was back posting in the Facebook group the next day complaining that they took her CD and moaning about what her son had eaten while he was gone. Parents using CD keep their children, teens, adults on restricted diets so they don't eat anything that might affect the doses. There's the young man in Devon whose mother I've reported twice. The first time I became aware of her was when a colleague informed me about her. I called social services and the police and let a journo know. An hour later, a campaigner from Ireland found out about the mother as well. The journo had surveillance placed outside the mother's house the next day. We were hoping to get the first photo of a British bleacher. Unfortunately, the Irish campaigner, who's known to be overzealous and aggressive, caught hold of the mother's number and called her, threatening her and promising her the press will expose you. This resulted in the mother not leaving the house for a week. The surveillance was costing the newspaper over £1,000 a day. So, that's some of that. Eye contact is for the recipient's validation only. So you do hear a lot, oh, you're not listening to me because you're not looking at me, but you don't look at a radio to hear it. And a lot of the time, we find it hard to make eye contact. It can feel like there's pressure on your eyes from the heel of your hand. It can be horrible. Most of us who are diagnosed late had trained ourselves to make eye contact because we were told we had to, which is why I'm able to do it. But after this, I'll be wiped out. I'll be really tired. But they say to autistics, that's a poem of all the things they say to autistics. Look at me. Why have you got ear defenders on? My cousin's nephew is autistic. They're nothing like you. All of those things put in one thing. Autistic people and domestic violence. We are very prone to be taken advantage of by people that are domineering and manipulative because we already have a communicational condition that makes us self-doubt and second-guess anyway. So if we're told, well, I did this because of this, I did this because I care so much, I did this because you make me this angry, because I love you, you will actually believe that. And you'll think it's your fault, and it's not. I've been through domestic violence twice, so I wrote it because I wanted to point out red flags that you may not necessarily think are red flags. You may think, oh, he really loves me, he's jealous, he cares about me, he must love me. Well, no, actually, he's manipulating the hell out of you, and so that's something that's in there. Autism and co-occurring conditions, so that's dyspraxia, dyslexia, all of those things. Sensory overload. Lullaby, which I'm going to read you. When my children were diagnosed autistic, so there's a big thing in the autism community. There's two communities. There's autistic people and there's people who have had autistic children and they co-opt their identity and they call themselves autism mums. And they literally use their child's identity to seek pity and validation. So that's about that. That's about me not doing that and why you shouldn't do that. It's an autism thing, I'll help you understand it, and it's chapter 6, stimming, my experiences. Stimming or self-stimulating behaviours are a well-known autistic trait and are described below. My stims are needed to ground and regulate me. If I am out in somewhere such as a large supermarket with strip lighting, crowds and tannoy announcements, I like to have a bracelet or beads to fiddle with. I can focus on them for tactile feedback and effectively block out the majority of external stimuli in order to complete my shopping. Other stims I have are scripting. I talk aloud to the point that people have thought I'm having a conversation with someone. My scripting is done to calm myself, and I'll do it to calm and self-soothe myself when I'm in a heightened emotional state. I also bite my mouth and fingers for oral stimulation. This is done for pain feedback and I find it calming. And that's something I do daily. Why do we stim? Spinning and bouncing. The reason behind this is balancing the vestibular sense, your balance sense. Flapping hands, fingers or flicking string is a visual stim. Having asked other autistic people, I've realised it's common to see traces in the air, a slowed down visual 3D effect, like a visual echo of our hands or the string in front of us. Spinning car wheels is done for visual stimulation. Smearing is another visual and tactile stim, which usually involves the person's own feces. Rocking is both vestibular and proprioceptive. The feedback from the back of the chair hitting their back and the back of their head can be comforting. Headbanging is a self-injurious stim done for proprioceptive feedback and can be alarming to see. Oral stimming is a release of tension and can be done by repeating phrases, making noises and screeching. Chewing is an oral stim, biting the mouth, hands and clothing. The advice that I'd give is spinning and bouncing. To support your child to do this, you can buy them a trampoline for outside and a mini one for inside. A balance ball, the type used to keep fit, is great, and a swing or hammock is ideal. Smearing. This can sometimes be redirected with Play-Doh and messy play. Rocking and headbanging. A helmet can help with this, and crash mats. Chewing. This can be redirected with a chewing device called a chewy tube or a clean washcloth. If the pain element is the attraction, then wrapping the hands in gloves or socks and allowing the bite for the pressure is a good remedy for this. Unless the stim is dangerous, try to allow it, as it is grounding and regulating behaviour.
So when you say you